Human beings are stupid. We make terrible decisions. I once drank turpentine to heal my body. Top that one, dickhead. I once left my bicycle outside and went into a store thinking, oh, that'd be fine. Oh, where's my bike? Oh, no. Why would you want that? We're stupid, and we make terrible decisions, and today we talk about the worst camera decisions I've ever made in my life, and some of the best. You're witnessing it.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So gas has struck us once more. We have bought a purchase. I bought a purchase. Fuji 16mm, Tony 1.4. It had to be done. I was searching through that Amazon warehouse and then I saw it. I was like, $950. There it is. $1,100 on Kijiji. You sacks. It was kind of annoying having this Fuji X-T4 to test against other cameras, and then my only lens is like a Samyang or the Viltrox's. Honorable mentions, but they're no Fuji 60. Come on now. How's the autofocus? Little slow, but accurate, and so silent. So the first terrible purchase I ever made, we have to go take a trip back to memory lane. It was my first upgrade ever. My first camera ever was the Canon SD1100 IS, and all my research consisted of going to Best Buy and looking around the counter. Which one? I did a bit of research before. It was like Canon and Nikon are the best, so I kept that in mind, then went to the store, ended up with a Samsung. After making my first video, the audio was so terrible I had to return it, and then I just went with the Canon. And after a while, it didn't autofocus, so you had to focus once, press it, you're good. And then I'd be showing my recipes and like, oh, it's not in focus anymore. Oh, God. So I spent months researching like a madman for an upgraded point and shoot. I came to the wrong ass conclusion. We ended up going with the Sony WX350. It served its purpose. It was an upgrade technically, but side by side, looking at the Canon SD1100 versus the Sony, yeah, it's a little better, possibly worse in some areas, but what I didn't realize was that it was still a tiny sensor, and that was the biggest deal we've ever known. Point and shoots are the dumbest. Like today they're completely irrelevant, but back then, pretty irrelevant too. And so we had that. It was fun. I never really vlogged with it. It had this super zoom, and all I did was make videos inside my kitchen. I had this 20 times zoom. I'm like, I'll never use that. I got a couple eagle shots, but nobody remembers or cares. Then I started doing some actual research, found DP Review, and they're like, this Sony RX100 has a 1-inch sensor. And I was like, what? I don't know what that means, but it sounds big. It's bigger than what I got down there. I ended up going with the Canon G7X's knockoff version of an RX100. They just copied Sony's camera. I think it's the same sensor, but it was slightly better. Canon colors. So I got that. One of the best decisions I ever made, though, was selling that for the Sony X3000. I was about to move to Thailand, and I was like, I need a vlog and cam something, and the X3000, I was like, on paper, nobody's using that thing, but it's so wide and stable and tiny. I was like, that thing's gonna be better than the G7X, I bet. Sold that, got that. That was the best thing I've ever done in my life. The only decision I stand by currently. But the universe has a way of balancing itself out, my friend. And I made the worst decision I've ever known. I went with the Mitacon 25mm Tony 0.95 over the Leica 25mm 1.4 for my G85. I wish my higher self would have warned me, but he didn't. He left me to die in the gutter. I saw it happen. Good job, young self. You bought yourself your first mirrorless camera, and I'm proud of you. The Panasonic G85, you ignored the critics. You went with a tiny, tiny little sensor, but it has everything you need right now. Don't worry, you got upgrade later. You don't need that stuff. It's shiny, looks nice. You got the Stabe, flippy screen, it's everything. No autofocus. How are you going to work that out? We'll see. But good stuff. What lens are you going to get for that system? I need the Tonne, so I'm going to get the Mitacon 25mm f 0.95 lens. It has the most tone you can get. I think I could vlog. It's a 50mm equivalent. It's a little tight. But if we get a super long tripod, that'll be Tony glory. You could go with the Chinese knockoff lens. Weren't you looking at the Leica 25mm as well? I heard that's a pretty good lens, if you want to consider that one. Yeah, I peeked at it. It looked kind of interesting, but it's a 1.4. This is Tony's 0.95th of a 1th. Just imagine the Tony back here. My instinct, I gotta listen to it. It's saying go with the Mitacon. Yeah, I'm your instinct, and I'm just throwing it out there. Leica, best lens company ever made. They've never made a bad lens. You couldn't pass it up if you tried. How much does it cost is the only downfall of a Leica lens. How much does this cost? Well, the Leica is actually cheaper than the Mitacon because it's used and in perfect condition. A saint was selling it, and I checked it, and it looked nice, but the Mitacon might look better with the Tony balls in the back. Just hear me out. I've heard that a Chinese knockoff Mitacon company makes busy bokeh balls, and you're not going to like it. And what's in focus, the actual important part of your video, is soft and less contrasty and no saturation, Chinese colors. I think you're wrong on most of your points, and I'm going with the Mitacon. I'll never regret it, ever. It was my deepest regret in life. To this day, I could be using that lens. Autofocus, I would have learned to use the app on my phone. I could have tapped, boom, done. The hours I've spent trying to manually focus and then go off. I'll never get that back. I will never buy the lens. I'll never see it for that same deal. I had it. I went to meet the guy. I was in a coffee shop and I saw it. I looked at the GT5. I had no lens and I was like, wow, that looks really nice. But you know what? Tony 0.95 might be better. And I said, sorry, I'm gonna go. You know what's interesting? My entire trip to Thailand, I spent a year and a half there. The only two cameras I had was the Panasonic J85 with that Mitacon lens, and then the tiny little Sony X3000. And I was fine. It was annoying for the at-home videos, admittedly, manual focus out. If I would have went with the Leica, I never would have even started this channel, because that would have been perfect. What more would I need? Nothing. It's only when I came back from Thailand did I start looking at other gear. Mr. Success built himself up over there, and then I had some money. I was like, oh, we should upgrade. The funny thing is, that's when I started getting all these offers. Marcus Picks was like, hey, pick any camera, I'll give you one. I was like, oh my god. So we got the Panasonic GH5S and the Leica 12mm 1.4, and I was like, all right. And then someone else reached out with the Leica 15mm. I was like, take it, buddy. And then Ian Corsi, I was like, you want an M50? And then Flat Earth Santa started dropping cameras like it's hot. The G9 and the Olympus, and oh, get the Fuji, here you go. Sony, do you want to buy that thing? I'll chip in for it. My next dumbest decision was buying the GoPro 8. I wouldn't have done it if the X3000 didn't lose its focus. The stupid sensor glue came loose, and I was like, this is out of focus. It doesn't look right. So I got the GoPro 8 and the Media Mod, which is what caught fire. I was losing every video I ever made. Just chunks missing time. Who was I abducted by? Are we the aliens, or are there real stuff? Because the dome doesn't let in UFOs from other planets. There are no other planets, so it's us from past ancient civilizations. Why are they taking me? The worst part of the GoPro purchase was that I gave away the Sony X3000 to somebody. No idea if they're even using it, probably not. Why would they? It's out of focus. You enjoyed the gift, trust me. I'm a generous person. And then I had no action cam for the longest time. That hurt. That hurt the soul. Which brings us to one of the best purchases. Fuji autofocus keeping up, never faltering. That took a while. The Huawei P40 Pro, which also leads to the dumbest purchase, the Mate 40 Pro. But this thing is fantastic. We all know it. I gush over it every day. I'm always blown away. It looks like absolute trash straight out of camera, but when you put a little Fuji Eternal LUT, knock the saturation and sharpness down, it's passable, and then you get the slow motion glory. I love that. But the dumbest thing I did was buying the Mate 40 Pro after this, thinking it might be an upgrade, because smartphone reviewers are terrible people. they're the dumbest. They're listing specs, even the top ones are like, this camera has a 12 megapixel sensor. No one cares. Tell me the focal length and the aperture. It has a 143 degree angle view. It's about, what does it mean? Stop hugging me. Just tell me the focal length. It's the smartphone company's fault. They just list the megapixels and it's like, I need to know more than that, and it's a lie. The 20 megapixel of the Mate should be better than the 40 of the Pro, but it's not. There's sneaky technology. Everything's lies. I really hate smartphones so much because it's impossible to know what you're getting just from reading the specs. Like there was a time limit, a 10-minute time limit on recording. That wasn't in any spec sheet. There was like crops in slow motion. That was not there. Over sharpened main sensor compared to the P40. Like why is it over sharpened? I'm still waiting for my refund on that thing. I ordered it in like December. It's now March. It's like a 3-month ordeal. And I tested it for like 2 days. 2 days I had that phone, 3 months. Till I get my money back at a likely 25% discounted restocking fee. So that was a dumb purchase. My next dumbest purchase was that Rokinon. Why am I pointing it? It was there once, like 4 weeks ago. 14mm Tony 2.8 manual focus only. Heaviest thing I've ever seen. I was like, thankfully I could return it. But that could have been a nightmare. Just having this heavy lens that sucked. Samyang sucks. I did a little side-by-side with the Fuji, this lens, versus the Samyang. I was like, oh, that's why. Yeah, okay. The colors were different and the sharpness was weird. It was like over-sharpened in the lens in a bad way. My next dumbest purchase was that Sigma 28mm Tony 1.4. It looked fairly glorious, but I realized 28mm is the most boring focal length you could ever muster up. I think it's like what our eyes see, and it was so basic and boring. I was like, what is that? If you have something like this, it's wider, it's different looking than you would see in regular life. It's distorted and weird. It's terrible. And then the telephotos, you get like, oh wow, the compression. Does he really look like, oh no, the meet and greet, look at his face. Oh, what happened to him? I thought he was beautiful. He doesn't have elf ears anymore. Compressed elf ears from a 50. I love that. But that lens being so big, it was false advertisement. I had to argue with the company to take it back. They wanted me to pay shipping and a restocking fee. I was like, this ain't the lens. They showed a picture of the Canon version without the extra mount for E-mount. And I was like, oh, I thought it was like this new version, because Sigma's making lenses designed for Sony mirrorless now. And I thought that was one of them. I was like, oh, look at that. That's going to be so good. It wasn't. It was pretty good. Don't get me wrong. Side by side, I did a little test. Tamron at 28mm Tony 2.8 versus the Sigma. For some reason, like, the Sigma makes me skinnier and weaker looking. It's weird. You get glorious tone. Maybe it's because half of my face is out of focus, tone-wise. And sorry, I had the Black Pro Mist on the Sigma, and Tamron didn't have it. It was a lazy comparison. That's what I'm known for. But thankfully they did pay for shipping and refunded the lens because it was false advertisement. And it's just, I thought having a huge lens wouldn't matter so much if it was just for your on-desk tripod. It's like, it's just there. I'm not going to vlog with it, but it was sticking out. It's like getting in my space. I'm just trying to eat dinner. Leave me alone, lens. It was so big. The best lens I've ever bought, I think. It's gotta be my boy over here. Keep with me, Fuji, even though I'm out of the frame. I want you to stay with me. There it is. You see that blue logo? Or do you? Or will you? Oh yeah, that's the one. I knew it immediately that I wanted that lens. Thanks to Camera Canada, they sent it to me as a loaner testing out the A7S III when it was just announced. And I was like, look at that thing. So as soon as Flat Earth Santa sent me the A7 III with all the lenses, even though he gave me every lens I would ever need, I was like, I still need that Zeiss. That's the one. That, you can't, just never take this off your camera and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Sure, it has the closest focusing distance of a NASA rocket launch, a fake rocket launch to the dome, and then it curves. You gotta be pretty far away. I also think this lens will be one of the better purchases now that we have an actual Fuji lens. Oh, can I? Oh God, this is... Why am I doing it? There wasn't a microphone up there. Don't even pretend you saw that. We're vlogging now. We're in vlog mode. Oh God, keep the mic out. There we are. You could do professional vlogs like that at home. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. I don't want this as a vlogging lens. I like the idea of having one camera and one lens. And then if you want to switch focal lengths, you switch to a different system. So if I want a 35mm, I pounce on that Canon RP. It's in my cart. I'm not going to do it. Canon RP with a EF adapter and the 50mm 1.4 for like $12.50. Part of me wants to pounce. Just like a baby kid. Get your claws out. But I can't do it. And the RX10 Mark IV, I kind of want to pounce on that. It has 960 frames per second. 1-inch sensor. You could vlog with it. And then super zoom with that 960p. You kidding me? So let me know down below what terrible things you've bought. Comfort my mind after you buy a Camera Conspiracies t-shirt. Subscribe for more videos.